Everyone, welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Pache. Thanks again for joining us on this Friday. We want to continue to update you here on this mass shooting that happened at a bar in Montana. 4 people have died, and the suspect still on the loose right now. That manhunt continuing. Here's just some video from the scene. It happened at a bar earlier in the morning. And police right now still don't know what the motive is, and they are trying to locate the suspect. Here is a look here at the suspect. This is coming from the Anaconda Deer Lodge County Law Enforcement Center, putting that out there. So we want to continue to update you here on this story and really, again, get some insight here on not only the investigation, but also what it is really goes into a manhunt. So let's bring in our next guest here. You've seen him already this week here, a friend here of the program, Jamie Copenhaver. Thanks so much for joining us, law enforcement expert. Great to have you on here. And Jamie, first off, your thoughts here on this mass shooting. And just want to unmute there.
Hey, sorry about that. Live TV, right? Mike, it's good to be with you. And, our thoughts and prayers are certainly going out for the victims and the families and everyone involved. But what an undertaking from our law enforcement community. We know that they have cleared the suspect's house. They searched for his body there. That came up empty. So what they're doing now, Mike, is going out and literally cordon off that area. And they're going to start a methodical search for the gunman in this case.
And tell us a little bit about what goes into it. We all feel that a cell phone, trying to maybe locate the pings, is very important during this time.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen cases like this unfold. Unfortunately, the U.S. Marshal Service has probably one of the premier tech divisions, I would say, in our federal agencies of law enforcement officers. And what they're going to do is go out and locate the IME number and the data for this individual cell phone, and they're going to start running data checks on that phone number to see if they can pin that number to a specific area. It's going to triangulate that signal, Mike, and give them, obviously a fresh starting point for the search. And then also they're going to start coming social medias, emails, and at the same time, they're going to start interviewing family and friends of the suspect to see if they've known anything or heard anything prior to the shooting, or where he may be hiding.
And what about also, do they already got a sense there of, I'm talking debit, credit cards, and if that was used, would they know, if he uses it in the next 5 minutes, would they be able to know right away, sort of the location?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of any financial transactions as to a credit or debit card, they're on top of that as well. And that's almost real-time information, Mike. So that's very helpful if this guy would try to get an Uber out of an area or a taxi or what have you, or who's to say he's not trying to get cash, right? If he's mobile and trying to move outside of the area, he's going to have some type of transportation. So they are going to be monitoring those monetary transactions in the advance that he, obviously uses that card or an ATM to get cash for his trip out of town to hide.
And what about, okay, so he's already killed 4 people here. Odds are that, he could kill once again and also maybe get into a situation with law enforcement. So now that they know that he is continuing to be armed, just how much more crucial is it to try to locate him? And how do you just go with that, knowing that he's already killed 4?
Yeah, very methodical. You don't know, I mean, as it stands right now, we don't know the motive as to why this gunman opened fire and took the lives of these individuals. So, he's armed and dangerous. We've heard that time after time on these events right here on your program. So, I would employ the citizens of that area. If they see something that just doesn't look right and you think it's connected to this mass shooting, certainly get on the phone to 911 and report that. But also, don't take action. That's what our men and women of law enforcement are out there for. If you see something that just doesn't look right, report it. As it pertains to the personnel of law enforcement, Mike, This guy has already taken the life of 4 people we know of. And, who's to say that he's not going to try to shoot himself out of trouble, just like he got into trouble? So, it's a very vulnerable situation. And, the police officers, they know they're after the guy. They know he was the shooter. But now it comes down to what is he going to turn himself in, or are they going to have to force that in custody arrest?
Yeah, I want to show everyone the look here of the suspect. His name is Michael Paul Brown. That is who they are looking for. And he left the scene after the shooting there. Tell us a little bit more about what goes into this manhunt and just, how far can someone get? It seems like he wouldn't have gotten too far.
Well, you're exactly right. Unless he's pre-planned, he could have had an accomplice that had a car waiting for him. It could be something as simple as he had a vehicle parked near the shooting and was able to get to that car before the authorities arrived to the scene. Equally or more importantly, I had indicated earlier, they're going to go out and start doing in-person interviews with families and friends. So, they want to make sure that the families may not be sitting on information that could help secure the arrest of this gunman. And also, did he leave any signs? Did he leave a note? Were they some type of digital footprint that law enforcement are currently looking through his social media and all digital devices that may lead him or lead them to a clue as to where he may be?
Yeah, and they already, like you talked about, they already checked his home. And what are some key things they're looking for in that home once they find that he's ultimately not there?
It's a multifaceted investigation, Mike. So right now we're looking for a bad guy, right? A shooter. They're going to be looking for evidence as to where he may have went, but also they're going to secure a search warrant for that premises to look for a potential motive or collect evidence for the crime that he just committed. So, it's not only a manhunt, it's a criminal investigation of a homicide ×4. So, you're going to have crime scene investigators out combing through all of that information. But I will tell you, they're going to put the crime scene on hold. They're obviously trying to find this gunman first, and that's going to take priority over evidence collection at this point. So they're looking for clues, any notes or notebooks or any writings that he may have written. Number one, to find out the motive, but more importantly, where he may be hiding.
Now, is the worry also that he could possibly carjack someone, take someone hostage, and, ultimately he's trying for survival at the very least here? Is that one of the big worries right now for law enforcement?
Absolutely. And that's what I had indicated earlier. If you see something that just doesn't look right, certainly pick up the phone and call 911 and alert the authorities of that, because you just don't know. It may be an intricate part of the puzzle that you hold, you're holding pieces of that the cops need to have. So, certainly pick up the phone to call something suspicious. And keep in mind, he just took the lives, allegedly, of 4 people. So, it's a flight or fight situation. So he's either going to flight and get out of the area via foot or car, or it may come down to where he's going to try to fight himself out of the situation, which places, our citizens in jeopardy as well as our law enforcement partners.
Yeah, and it's a situation where we've seen this so many times with suspects when they're on the run. They ultimately know eventually they're going to get caught. It seems like they're always just trying to extend their last moments of freedom.
Yeah, we've seen this play out so many times, and a lot of these cases, and I'm not certainly suggesting this will happen in this case, but we've certainly seen suicides, right? These gunmen will run until they can't run any further, and then they take their own lives before law enforcement makes that arrest, right? So, let's pray that the police are on top of this and they have a good scent or a good direction as to where the gunman ran to, so they can actually take him into custody alive to learn more about the motive and kind of why he did this. I mean, it's a mystery as we know it. It may be released later, but I'd be curious to know the motive as to what prompted this shooting. I'm going to suggest it wasn't just something he thought of and just went and did. It's something I'm going to suggest that he had planned out. And, it could be a domestic situation. It could be a business thing going wrong. We just don't know the motive, Mike.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key once we find out the motive, maybe just a little bit more lead up on what happened here in this tragic scene that played out earlier today out in Montana. But Jamie, thanks so much for joining us, giving us some great insight on this manhunt that continues right now in the state of Montana.
Very well, thank you.
Take care. All right, everyone, we are going to continue to track that major story for you right here on Live Now from Fox throughout the evening. We're also getting a live look right now of Marine